Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Drunk Knitting. There we go. We're knitting with Kyle. We're teaching him how to cable today. He has cast on for his gloves. Now he's working cables. So we're going to kind of go over cables, how that works, and teach him a little bit more about cabling and get him going on these gloves and get him ready to knit a sweater in Iceland after he has learned all the knitting skills.
So it looks super complicated, this cable stuff. I've been looking at cable sweaters on the internet all day, and I can't imagine that is done through any other method than magic.
No, it's not magic. It's actually pretty simple. I don't claim to be an expert on cables. I know how to do them. My mom is like the cable guru. Like she literally one time like knit this twisted cabley tree blanket just off her head. Like just did it. Ridiculous. I'm showing you a much simpler cable. We are just going to do a 6-stitch cable, just a very basic twist. We are doing right twist, left twist. I can't remember. I've had too many glasses of wine already. But with these gloves and the patterns, of course, available for anybody watching this for free, the twist goes one way on one glove and it goes the other way on the other glove. So you're going to learn how to cable back and front on these gloves.
So you'll know which is your left glove and your right glove.
Yes. Okay, so when you're reading this pattern, you're going to see on this first glove, it says C6F, right? And if you've never read a cable pattern, that seems kind of weird, but it just basically means you're working a 6-stitch cable to the front, okay? So when you have a 6-stitch cable, I'm going to get right there on my pair of gloves too. Make this very easy for everybody to see. A 6-stitch cable, when you work it to the front, you're going to take 3 of those stitches, slip them to a cable needle, or in my case, because I've lost all my cable needles, an extra double-pointed needle, and you just hold it in the front, okay? Then you're going to knit the next 3 stitches of your 6-stitch cable. So, leaving your cable needle in front with those 3 stitches hanging out, I've now knit my next 3, and it should look like that. Not super complicated yet, right?
It's not as complicated as I was thinking. So I've done the 2 purls, which preface my my cabling, and so I'm going to do take the 3 stitches off, right?
Yep, you slip them to your needle.
All right.
Now, do you have a cable needle or are you using an extra? Oh, see, that's good. I lose mine.
See, but like, I'm like, this is not a cable needle worthy of my cable. So now I'm like, I should make my own cable needles. I should get some fine silver and a hammer and an anvil and make some cable needles that are worthy of my knitting. All right. So it just happens to be the last 3 on my needle too. So.
Okay, hold them in front of your work.
All right.
And knit those next 3 stitches.
Knit those next 3 stitches. All right. Let's see. There's just so much going on in here now.
I know, it's a little nuts at first.
It's like this sculpture from the Blair Witch. Okay. 1. 2. 3. All right. And now I'm going to take the ones on my cable needle And can I knit right off this cable needle?
Yep, you knit them right off the cable needle.
Right off the cable. Wow. All right.
And once you do that, you are going to have your fun little Brady cable. And then you knit those 2 purl stitches. Just the purl stitches kind of frame your cable and make it look a little bit more standoutish.
And a little border around it there.
Yeah.
Like
you worked hard for this cable. You need to show it off.
Well,
that's what the purls are for.
If this actually makes a cable, I'm going to be disappointed that it wasn't more difficult.
Oh, we can do some difficult cables later if you want.
Years ago, when I was first doing concert photography, I was impressed by a famous drummer who could twirl his sticks. And backstage, I said, "I'm amazed at you twirling the sticks." And he showed me how he did it. And he said, "It's all an illusion." And it wasn't all an illusion. It was kind of busted for me then because he wasn't really twirling it. Just more wiggling it. And I learned something then, that to the untrained eye or to the untrained ear, things that seem like magic can be relatively simple.
We should go to Ireland next for the next book and just get schooled on cables by little old Irish ladies. Drink beer, have old Irish grandmas yell at us about our cables.
So indeed, whoops, there's a little cable there.
There you go.
It crosses over. Amazing. Amazing.
So simple.
Wow. See, there are many places in my ribbing where I confuse my knittings and my purlings. It's a bit of a mess down here. These double-pointed needles are not the most intuitive thing to work on.
Now, how are you doing on double pointed? Because you said earlier that you ended up with only 2 needles at one point.
Yeah, I knitted out of the one needle, and it dropped into my lap, and I stuck it in my mouth, and I kept knitting with the 3 needles that were there for some reason. And then when that one dropped out, there were just 2 needles, parallel to one another. And I was like, how did I get here? This is not my beautiful house. But then I just pulled some stitches off and put them on the 3rd needle, and I was back. I realized that it doesn't matter how many stitches are on each needle. It doesn't have to be the same number. It could be
Now, in some sock patterns, it does matter.
Okay.
But in a pattern like this, it doesn't at all. And in fact, I tend to have like my little rhythm. So I have the same stitches on each needle. And every once in a while, I will consciously knit a few extra stitches and kind of shift them over just to make sure I'm not getting any like ladders down my knitting, which happens sometimes when you have like the little gaps from double pointed needles. So if you see ladders happening, there are ways that we can correct that too.
That's going to be low on my list of things to fix first. So, okay. The working one is always the one with the string on it, right? Or no, the working one is the one next to the one with the string coming off of it. What is the one with the string coming off of it? What do we call it?
That's your working needle.
Okay, this is my working needle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's always in the same place, and it's always the one next to it that I'm knitting off of. That's easy enough.
Yeah, so yes, trying to make sure that I'm telling you correctly now that I'm looking at it. And I've also had quite a bit of wine already. I'm going like full on suburban mom tonight. So
okay.
We've got like a bottle of Apothic Dark. I've been drinking it.
Full on suburban mom with a horse.
Yeah. Yeah. I had somebody doing like a porch pickup of baby stuff that I was selling, and she was like, "Will the horse come to me at the gate?" Because she was out there trying to get him. Like, not unless you got food.
If you got food.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not gonna come out and get him for you, but you can try to lure him over.
Stop at the farmer's market and get some carrots. See, this is how I did it last time and lost.
Dude, literally one day Dill came home and I was just in a sour mood because I had lost one of my knitting needles. And I was like pissed because I'd been trying to work on this project and I couldn't do it because I was missing a needle. And he was like, "What's holding your hair up?" I was so mad. I'm very, very excited for you to learn this thumb gusset though, because it's so much easier than what you were doing before.
Yeah, so I just I had made, Trillian she said she wanted fingerless mittens or fingerless gloves. So I made her the fingerless gloves and it just had a hole in the side, and she put it on and she said, "This is not a fingerless glove because it doesn't have a thumb. This is just an arm warmer." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And she's like, "No, an arm warmer is fine." And then I like laid awake all night and I was like, how could I put a thumb on there? So I just, sockinette knitted a 2.5-inch strip and sewed it on. It's like a Frankenstein thing. But now she has a fingerless mitten and not a stupid arm warmer.
I'll teach you other ways. It'll be much better.
I did feel very pleased with myself, though, for figuring that out.
All right. So for the next episode, your homework for tonight
All right.
is to knit up to the thumb gusset in the pattern. And then I'm going to show you how to do increases, which you will need to learn to make an Icelandic sweater.
Right. So far, I had been making accidental increases. I think that was my first problem. And I was able to stop making accidental increases, but I never really figured out how I was doing it, other than I was splitting a lot of yarn and turning one strand of yarn into 2 strands of yarn that then got knitted into their own stitches. I'm guessing your way is better than that.
Yes. It'll be much easier.
I'm astounded that this far along, I still have the same number of stitches on all of my needles. So I'm getting better at something.
Making progress, Kyle. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. It's not counting. Counting is still a problem for me, but but some things are going significant. No, don't do that. Some things are going significantly better. And I realized some of the mistakes that I was making, especially when I did the scarf with the big yarn, because then I was like, oh, now I see. These don't look microscopic anymore. So that was very helpful.
That's fantastic. All right, we'll do your homework, and then next time, increases.
All right. See you some other time.